We are very fortunate to have him close this year's Words Aloud Festival. Please welcome him to the stage, John Beely. Thank you.
I remember they made a film of Vimy Ridge, and the thing that was echoed over and over again by the people, the young people who were making this film of Vimy Ridge, was you just can't imagine. You just can't imagine. And I was thinking to myself, yes, you can imagine. What you need to do is read the poets of the First World War to imagine. And John McCrae wrote a poem called In Flanders Fields, which we all learned as children, but I was 50 before I learned the story that was behind that particular poem that John McCrae wrote. And it's a very poignant story. John McCrae was a career military officer. He was a medical doctor, and he was a volunteer, and he was middle-aged. And a young man who grew up in his hometown reported to the front, and it was the second battle of the Somme. He was stationed in Belgium, in Ypres, and the young man, there was shelling, constant shelling, and people were having trouble sleeping, and the shelling quieted a little bit, and the young man said, "It has quieted a little, I think I shall try to get some rest." And he left John McCrae and walked outside and was blown to smithereens. And John McCrae, being a medical doctor and knowing the young man, was required himself to gather the bits of that young boy with whom he was familiar, who was a family friend, back together, and to bury some semblance of what had been a human being. And it was said of John McCrae that ever thereafter he never recovered his joy in life, and he would take long and sorrowful rides on his horseback when he had time off. And it's been said of John McCrae that he died of a broken heart. And he wrote that poem in Flanders Fields after that. So that made that poem all the more poignant for me, and I thought, this being so close to Remembrance Day, rather than entertain you, because I can be funny, I swear, I can be funny, I have that capacity, I would go to the deep wells of myself and say, what I think of Remembrance Day is that most people who have been soldiers say, never again. If I were a nation innocent of war, if I were a nation innocent of war, my flag the white of angels, my tongue too soft for certain verbs would bless the danger out of stones. My hands would shape their shares too pure for battle's praise. Ah, singer, sing a song of vacant borders, a ghost of maps too old to draw like lines in water. My heroes would be armed with bread, my soldiers in the wheat like sunlit gold, and women would know their sons were safe. And fathers would not weep for glory, nor clutch a fatal photograph, nor visit where their children fell, nor worship the white multitude of markers on important grass, nor name their deaths, nor build their bronze demise, nor send the pricking poppies from the coat, nor drop their paper blossoms in the snow like wound daubs come unstuck where blood's too wet to hold. And all the anger in the language, all the anger in a faith gone mad, and all the anger in a recollected wrong, and all the anger in stolen land, and all the anger in a vein of coal, and all the crushed amoebas of another age, and all the anger in the sand and waters, all the anger in the salt below the rain, all the anger in boats at storm, all the anger in a rage of fire and a phosphorescent wind, all the anger in a mustard breath and yellow air, and all the valiant, and all the cruel, and all the frightened would spend their humor in a field of hay, and do their duty in a garden, and never wonder why the loving dreamer always smiles within the tedium of home.